Why did she hesitate at the doorway, as if the morning light itself was warning her not to step inside? Maya Hale didn't believe in signs. Not after all she'd lived through. Not after years of flying into war zones where the sky swallowed screams and metal failures could end lives in seconds. She trusted instinct, not omens. Yet that morning, when she pushed open the diner door, duffel bag slung over her shoulder, civilian jacket hiding a life no one here would ever guess, something in her paused. She would later understand why. But not yet. For now she only noticed the same things any observant operative would. The stale smell of coffee, the wide windows pouring sunlight like a spotlight on the wrong people, and the tension, subtle, stretching, coiling, before anyone had even spoken. She kept her eyes down. She didn't want to be noticed. She was here for one reason only, to find the man who had requested her presence. The same man she once trusted in a different life. The same man who had vanished from the teams months ago without giving her a reason. Commander Ridge Carson. Her former her mentor. Her only steady anchor in the chaos of deployments. But even anchors come loose. Even leaders break. The email he sent her last night, brief, cryptic, had said only, "If you're back stateside, come see me. There's something you need to know." He didn't send messages like that. He didn't ask for help, not unless something was wrong. She scanned the diner for him, heartbeat steady, breath slow. That's when she heard the first voice, too loud, too amused, dripping with the kind of arrogance she had seen destroy young soldiers before they ever touched real battle. "Hey, sweetheart," one of the cadets said. "Don't walk away yet, we're not done with you." Maya looked up. The waitress, Lily, her name tag read, froze mid-step. Her wrist trembled under the weight of the coffee pot. Maya felt the shift immediately. Predators. Bored, entitled, uniform-wearing predators. She clenched her jaw but didn't intervene. She learned the hard way that stepping in too early could strip someone of their dignity instead of protecting it. Sometimes help had to arrive like a shadow, quiet, not announced. But the next second, the cadet tipped his cup. The coffee spilled. The hiss of skin burning. The gasp. The diner froze. Maya's chest knotted with a familiar ache, anger mixed with memory. Too close to things she'd witnessed overseas. Too close to the helplessness of people who couldn't fight back. Too close to the times she herself had been underestimated, judged, dismissed, simply because no one could see the battles she carried inside. But she still didn't move. Because someone else already had. A voice rose from the corner, calm, controlled, deadly in its steadiness. "That's enough." Maya didn't need to see the speaker to know who it was. She felt the entire room realign around him, like gravity shifting. Commander Carson. He stepped forward, and in the sunlight leaking across his face, Maya saw the edges of a man who'd once been unshakable. He looked older, not in years but in weight, in silence, in whatever he'd been carrying since he disappeared from their last mission. She watched him confront the cadets, voice low but sharp enough to carve truth straight into their pride. She watched their smirks fade when they saw the tattoo on his forearm, the commander's trident no cadet could ever fake or earn lightly. She watched Lily shrink back, holding her burned wrist. And inside Maya something cracked. Because strength wasn't always loud, and pain wasn't always visible, and dignity, real dignity, lived in the moments when someone stood up not because they had to, but because the world needed reminding that cruelty didn't get the last word. When the cadets apologized and the tension broke like a breath the room had been holding too long, Maya finally moved. Slowly. Quietly. No one noticed her in the crowd, not even Ridge, until she stepped closer to the counter, where Lily stood wiping tears she didn't want anyone to see. "You okay?" Maya asked gently. Lily nodded quickly, too quickly. Yeah, I'm fine, just stupid morning." Maya didn't reach for her wrist. She didn't touch her. She just offered a soft exhale. Pain hits harder when people pretend not to see it. Lily blinked, a small, fragile recognition in her eyes. You sound like you've been through things. Maya gave a faint smile. Haven't we all? But inside she remembered deserts, dust storms, the roar of engines, the screams over comms, missions that spiraled, people she couldn't save, nights she couldn't sleep. She didn't come here to remember any of that. She came for Ridge. By the time she turned toward him, he was already moving toward the exit. The sunlight framed him like a silhouette of a man trying to escape something only he could see. Maya followed. Outside, the air was cooler, sharp. Ridge didn't look back until he did, and when their eyes finally met, she saw the emotion he usually hid behind stoic discipline. Surprise, relief, and something she had never seen before. Fear. Maya, he breathed, you came. I got your message. What's going on? He glanced around, scanning rooftops, corners, reflective surfaces. The habits never left him. The paranoia either, not when missions went wrong in ways that never made official reports. He nodded toward an empty parking lot beside the diner. They walked until voices and windows were far behind them. Ridge stopped near an old truck and leaned against it, arms crossed, as if grounding himself. There's something I didn't tell you, he said. Maya waited. Silence was sometimes the gentlest form of permission. That mission in Yemen, the one they said was clean, Ridge murmured. It was, something got buried, something I couldn't stop. Maya felt her pulse tighten. She had suspected this. Everyone had, but hearing him say it cracked open old ghosts. What does that have to do with me? She asked quietly. Ridge hesitated. And for a man like him, hesitation was a warning siren. Because, he said, voice low, the people involved, they believe you know something you shouldn't. I don't, she whispered. I know, but they don't care. A wind brushed across the empty lot, lifting dust around their feet. Maya felt the familiar rise of anticipation, the sharp instinct that came before danger. Ridge, what aren't you saying? His jaw tightened. His eyes softened with something almost like regret. You're not safe anymore, and neither is anyone standing too close to you. Maya inhaled slowly, steadying herself. Her life had never been simple, but this, being hunted for secrets she didn't even know, was a different kind of shadow. What do they want? She asked. Ridge looked toward the diner, toward the door Lily had walked through minutes earlier. They want leverage, he said, and they're willing to hurt anyone to get it. Maya didn't flinch, but her stomach twisted. Who's next on their list? She whispered. Ridge swallowed. You're not going to like the answer. And in that moment, with sunlight glinting off parked cars and the world still pretending to be peaceful, Maya understood something she had tried to avoid since she stepped off the plane back into civilian life. She wasn't done. Her past wasn't done with her. And danger was already closer than she realized. Why did Ridge's eyes drift back toward the diner, as if the danger he feared wasn't distant at all, but already moving in the sunlight behind those glass windows? Maya followed his gaze, and her stomach sank. Ridge, she whispered, who's next on their list? He didn't answer at first. He just breathed out slowly, the way soldiers do when they're deciding whether to say the truth or spare someone from it. But Ridge Carson had never been the type to sugarcoat. If anything, he was the kind of man who walked through storms without flinching, so his hesitation now felt heavier than the heat rising from the asphalt. Maya, he rubbed the back of his neck, eyes narrowing. They saw you walk in. That's enough for them to connect things I never wanted connected. She didn't blink. Who saw me? Two men parked across the street, he said quietly. They came in right before you arrived, sat at the counter for maybe a minute before walking out again. Too fast, too deliberate. They weren't here for coffee. Maya's breath stilled. They were scouting, tracking, confirming. Her heart moved into a slow, grounding rhythm, one she knew well from missions where the sky felt like a loaded weapon and the ground felt too far away. It wasn't fear. It was focus. Pure, sharpened focus. "Tell me what they want, Ridge," she said. He exhaled again, this time heavier. "They want leverage," he repeated, "to force your hand to make you come to them, and today," he paused, eyes tightening, "they might have found it." Maya followed his line of thought instantly. Lily, the waitress, the girl who had just been burned, who had been humiliated before the entire diner froze, and who now had no idea real danger had brushed past her like a shadow. "You think they'll go after her?" Maya said, voice low. Ridge didn't answer. He didn't have to. Maya turned toward the diner, already stepping back toward the entrance. Ridge grabbed her wrist, not hard but firm enough to stop her. "Maya, wait." "Why?" Her voice cracked, not with fear but with something deeper, rawer. "Because she's innocent. Because she doesn't know anything. That's exactly why she's vulnerable. They'll use anyone if it gets them closer to me. You said that yourself." Ridge closed his eyes for a second, as if bracing. "That's why I didn't want you involved again." "But I am," she said softly. "The second I walked in, I was." The memories rolled through her. Dust, gunfire, the roar of rotor blades overhead, Ridge calling her name through broken comms. She had survived too many things to pretend ignorance would protect anyone. Not anymore. She pulled her wrist free gently. And Ridge let her go. Inside the diner, the mood had softened. Customers were returning to conversations, though more subdued, glancing occasionally at the door as if replaying the scene. Lily stood behind the counter, dabbing aloe or lotion onto her wrist from a small first aid kit. She winced but forced a small smile at anyone who looked her way. She didn't see Maya approach until she was close. "Hey," Maya said softly, "can I help?" Lily shook her head quickly. No, I'm okay. It's just a little burn." "Doesn't look little." Lily's lips twitched into a shy laugh. "You sound like my dad. He always said I minimize everything." "Maybe because you're used to pushing through pain," Maya said. Lily looked up sharply, eyes widening as if someone had just read a page from her private diary. Maya knew that look well. She wore it years ago, long before she ever touched a cockpit. "Can I ask you something?" Lily whispered. "Sure." "Why did you stay back when those cadets?" She swallowed. "When that happened, you looked like you wanted to help, but you didn't jump in. Most people just watched, but you were watching differently." Maya held her breath. She hadn't expected that question, or that level of perceptiveness from someone who'd just been shaken, embarrassed, and hurt. "I didn't want to take away your voice," Maya said finally. "Sometimes stepping in too fast makes the person feel smaller, not safer." Lily stared at her for a long moment, eyes glossy but steady. "Thank you," she whispered. "Most people just don't see things like that." Maya opened her mouth to respond, but the bell above the diner door jangled, sharp and sudden. Two men walked in. Not loud, not rushed. Calm. Too calm. Maya recognized danger instantly, not from action but from absence. No wasted movements, no unnecessary pauses, no interaction with the room. "Predators enter silently," her mentor once said. "The loud ones are amateurs." The two men scanned the diner briefly, eyes landing on Lily. Not Maya. Not Ridge. Lily. Maya stepped half an inch to the side, placing herself subtly between the men and the waitress. One of them smiled, a tight, artificial curl of the mouth. "Excuse me," he said, approaching the counter. "We're looking for someone who came in earlier." His voice was soft. Too soft. Lily blinked. "I'm sure. Did you want me to?" Maya cut in smoothly. "She's busy. What do you need?" Both men turned to her. And in that instant, Maya knew they recognized her. Their eyes didn't widen. Their muscles didn't twitch. Real professionals didn't slip. But the stillness, too perfect, confirmed everything Ridge feared. "We were told a woman matching your description might be here," the taller one said. "We need to ask you a few questions. Outside." Lily stiffened behind her. Maya didn't move. "I'm not interested." The man's smile didn't change. It wasn't a request. She caught the faint bulge beneath his jacket, holstered, judging by shape and weight, most likely a compact. Professional. Trained. Dangerous. Her military instincts came alive, not the adrenaline-fueled kind, but the cold, precise kind pilots developed when flying into hostile airspace. Then Ridge appeared beside her. Silent, solid, like he'd been waiting for the moment they showed themselves. He didn't touch her, didn't speak to her, but his presence alone shifted the balance of the entire room. The taller man's jaw tightened. "Commander Carson," he said slowly. Lily gasped softly. Maya's heart thudded once, hard. They knew him too. "We're not doing this here," Ridge said, voice flat. "You don't have a choice," the man replied. Ridge stepped forward, blocking Maya entirely from their line of sight. "Last warning," Ridge said. "Walk away." The man smiled again, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. "I think," he said quietly, "you've forgotten how this works." Before Ridge could answer, Maya noticed it, just a flicker, the smaller man reaching toward his jacket. Not for his weapon. Not yet. But for something else. Something she didn't recognize. A phone, a device. Her pulse spiked. Something was about to happen. "Maya," Ridge murmured without turning, "don't react." But it was already too late. The smaller man pressed the device. A tiny click. A vibration in the air. And in the diner's far corner, a phone began buzzing. Lily's phone, where she'd left it on the counter while helping customers. Maya turned instinctively. A message flashed on the screen. She didn't see all the words. Just the first three. "We have her." Lily's knees buckled. Ridge swore under his breath. Maya froze. Because they weren't here for Maya at all. They already had leverage. Not Lily. Not her father. Someone else entirely. Someone Maya never expected to be pulled into this. The message finished sinking. And the last name hit her like a punch to the ribs. Her sister. Why did the world suddenly seem too quiet, too narrow, too sharp, like the air itself was holding its breath around her? Maya couldn't look away from the phone screen. Those three words kept echoing through her skull. We have her. Her sister. Her only blood. The last piece of family she had left. For a moment she felt herself slipping, back into old memories she had sworn she'd buried. Her sister's laugh, bright and fragile. Their last argument before deployment. The promise Maya made to come back whole this time. Her lungs tightened. Someone touched her elbow. Ridge. "Maya," he whispered, "stay with me." But her vision blurred at the edges, as if her mind were trying to shield her from what she didn't want to accept. Her sister wasn't involved. She lived 2 states away. She wasn't part of any mission, any classified operation, any cover story. So why? "I need to see the message," Maya said quietly, forcing her voice steady even as her heart slammed against her ribs. Lily hesitated but tapped her phone open with trembling fingers. The message expanded. "We have her. If Maya doesn't come, we'll start cutting pieces. You have 1 hour. Follow instructions." Maya swallowed hard. The diner felt too small now, too full of watching eyes and silent fear. The room that moments ago was filled with sunlight now looked washed out, pale, stripped of warmth. Ridge's jaw clenched. "It's a trap." "Of course it's a trap," Maya whispered, "but it's my sister. You go to them, they kill you, then her." Then what am I supposed to do? The desperation slipped through, raw and unfiltered. Sit here. Ridge shook his head. No, but we do this smart. The two men watched them with unreadable expressions. They weren't rushing. They weren't threatening. Because they didn't have to. They already had what they wanted. The taller one stepped forward. Maya Hale, you have 60 minutes. Come willingly or she dies. Lily let out a small, helpless sound. She covered her mouth with her hand, eyes filling with tears, not for herself, but for the stranger who had tried to comfort her minutes ago. Maya's pulse sharpened. If you've hurt her. We haven't, the smaller man said. Yet. Ridge moved so fast the men flinched. He didn't grab them, didn't reach for a weapon. He simply stepped between them and Maya again, full height, full presence, blocking their view of her completely. Tell your bosses this, he said quietly. If any harm comes to her sister, I'll burn their entire operation to the ground. Every name, every safe house, every off-the-books account. The taller man smirked. Big words from a retired ghost. Ridge's sinews tightened. You'd be surprised how many ghosts still know how to haunt. The men exchanged a look, irritated but not intimidated. Clock's ticking, the smaller one said. We'll send coordinates in 5 minutes. And just like that, they turned, walked out and disappeared into the street. No dramatic exit. No lingering stare. Because they believed the hook was in deep enough. Maya exhaled shakily, pressing a hand to the counter to steady herself. Her legs felt weak, not from fear, but from the weight of decisions she didn't have the luxury to avoid. Lily wiped her cheeks and finally whispered, I'm so sorry, I didn't know that message was. Maya placed a hand softly on her shoulder. It's not your fault, they were using you to reach me. You did nothing wrong. But your sister. I'll get her back, Maya said, but the conviction cracked at the edges. Ridge touched her arm. Maya, look at me. She did. And she hated the fear she saw in his eyes. Fear not for himself, but for her. They want you alive, Ridge said. At least for now, that buys us time. Not enough. We'll find a way to stretch it. You don't understand, she whispered. They have my sister, my baby sister, Ridge. She doesn't know anything about this world. She doesn't know how to fight. She doesn't even know what I really did overseas. Ridge exhaled. Then we tell her everything when she's safe. His confidence felt fragile, but it was the only thing she could cling to. Then Maya's phone vibrated. A location ping. Coordinates. A single message. Come alone. No weapons. No Ridge. 30 minutes left. Ridge leaned over her shoulder, scanning it. Warehouse district, he muttered. Of course. Maya pulled her duffel bag close, the one she came in with. She wanted to unzip it, to grab the leathery grip of her sidearm, to feel the weight of something familiar in her hand. But she couldn't. Not if they were watching. Not if breaking their instructions meant her sister paid the price. Maya, Ridge said, lowering his voice, I'm not letting you walk into that alone. You don't have a choice. Like hell I don't. She met his eyes, and something inside her softened, not in weakness but in vulnerability she rarely allowed. Ridge, if you come, they'll kill her. His jaw tensed, and if you go without backup, they'll kill you. Then I won't give them a reason, she said. I'll follow instructions, I'll get her out. And you, she swallowed, you'll stay close enough to intervene if things go wrong. He shook his head. That's still going in alone. It's going in alive. That's all I need right now. The room felt tight, held together by tension and fear, and something else, something neither she nor Ridge wanted to name out loud. Connection. History. Unspoken care. Lily stepped forward, voice trembling. Wait before you go, please, let me help. Maya blinked. How? You said danger finds the people around you. Then let me choose to stand near you, not hide because I'm scared." Maya wasn't expecting that. The bravery in Lily's voice was raw, not trained, not conditioned, just human. "You've already been through enough today," Maya said softly. Lily shook her head. "And you think I can just stand here and do nothing while someone hurts your family?" Her words hit deeper than she intended. Because that's what haunted Maya most about her past missions. The helplessness of watching people pay prices they never owed. Maya placed both hands on Lily's shoulders, steadying the young woman whose strength surprised her. "You helping me," Maya whispered, "is going to be staying safe." Lily's eyes glimmered. "Then promise me you'll come back." Maya hesitated. She wasn't good at promises. Not ones like that. Not ones that depended on people who didn't play by rules. But Lily needed it. So Maya nodded. "I'll come back." Ridge inhaled, as if committing that vow to his own memory. Maya tightened her grip on her duffel, hiding the tremor in her hands. She walked toward the door. But just as she reached it, Ridge spoke. "Maya." She turned. He looked at her not like a commander, not like a mentor, but like someone who couldn't bear losing another piece of his past. "There's one more thing you need to know," he said quietly, "about that mission in Yemen." She froze. "There was a name," Ridge continued. "Someone who betrayed us, someone who leaked our flight paths and extraction routes." Maya's heart stuttered. He had never told her this. "They called him Spectre," Ridge whispered, "a ghost in the system." "What does that have to do with my sister?" Ridge's expression shifted, slow, pained, heavy. "Because the men who took her," he said. "They work for him." Maya felt her blood run cold. "Spectre isn't after intel," Ridge added. "He's after revenge." Her breath faltered. "And he wants you," Ridge said. "Alive." Why did her footsteps feel heavier with every step she took toward the warehouse district? As if the pavement itself knew she wasn't walking toward a rescue, but toward a reckoning long overdue. The sun hung low now, glaring off rusted metal rooftops and casting long shadows that stretched like warning fingers across the cracked sidewalks. Maya walked alone, hands steady at her sides, duffel bag bouncing lightly against her hip. To anyone watching, she looked like a normal woman on an afternoon errand. But inside her mind roared. Her sister. Spectre. Revenge. The words tangled like barbed wire around her ribs with every breath she took. She reached the edge of the industrial zone and paused beneath an old street lamp humming with static. She scanned the rooftops, the windows, the alley mouths. Every instinct screamed caution. Every memory told her she'd walked into traps before, but never with stakes like these. Her phone vibrated once. A message. Straight ahead. "Do not deviate. Do not speak to anyone. We see you." Maya looked up slowly. There, on a rooftop 3 buildings away, glinted something metallic, a scope catching sunlight for half a second. They weren't hiding. They wanted her to see. She inhaled, exhaled, let the fear settle somewhere deep and quiet. Fear wasn't her enemy, panic was, and she refused to panic, not when her sister's life hung between every decision she made. She walked. Up ahead sat an old warehouse, the kind abandoned after the shipping companies left the port years ago. Tall steel doors, broken windows, graffiti curling across the concrete like warnings written by people long gone. Her stomach knotted. They would have chosen a place like this deliberately, far from witnesses, far from sound, far from help. But she wasn't helpless. She repeated that silently like a mantra as she approached the door. Before she touched it, her phone buzzed again. "Stop. Drop the bag. Kick it away." Maya clenched her teeth. She pushed the duffel aside and nudged it with her boot. It slid across gravel, landing near the edge of the loading dock. She straightened. Now enter alone. The steel door groaned open when she pushed. Inside was a cavern of dim light, dust drifting like slow snowflakes in the hazy air. The scent of rust and damp concrete filled her lungs. Footsteps echoed faintly, someone moving deeper in the darkness. Maya stepped in, the door slammed shut behind her. For a moment she stood still, letting her eyes adjust. Then she heard it. A soft, muffled cry. Her chest tightened. She turned toward the sound, the far left corner, behind a row of old cargo crates. "Sarah," Maya called, voice cracking. Another cry, desperate and small. Her sister. The part of her that was a soldier stayed cautious. The part of her that was a sister moved fast. She sprinted between crates, boots skidding on dust. When she reached the corner, she froze. Her sister was there, bound to a chair, mouth taped, hair wild, eyes bright with terror and relief. Tears streaked down her cheeks. Maya dropped to her knees, hands trembling as she ripped the tape from her mouth. Sarah sucked in a ragged breath. "Maya," she sobbed. They took me 2 men, black van, they said." "I know," Maya whispered, cutting her ropes with shaking fingers. "I'm here, I'm getting you out." Sarah clung to her like a child, arms squeezing tightly, body trembling uncontrollably. "You shouldn't have come," Sarah cried. Maya held her face gently. "I had to." "You shouldn't have," a voice echoed from the shadows. Every muscle in Maya's body went rigid. It wasn't the voice of the 2 men from the diner. It was smoother, older, calmer, the voice of someone who had practiced patience like religion. A figure stepped from behind the crates, dressed in plain black. His face was partially masked, but his eyes, sharp, cold, familiar, made Maya's blood run cold. Because she knew those eyes. Not from missions, not from briefings, but from the last moment she'd seen a helicopter go down in Yemen, flames tearing through the sky. "Spectre." He stepped closer, head angled slightly. "It's been a long time, Lieutenant." "I'm not a lieutenant anymore," she said, pulling Sarah behind her. "You think titles matter to me," he replied softly. "You think I care what letters they put next to your name when I watched my entire team burn because of you." Maya's pulse thundered, because of me. She had replayed that mission 1,000 times. The explosion, the mayday, the smoke. But she wasn't the cause. She was. "You betrayed us," Maya said, voice trembling with anger. "You sold intel, you leaked flight routes, you killed your own men." Spectre laughed, a short, humorless sound. "You still don't know the truth. You're lying." "Oh no," he said. "Not this time. This time, Maya Hale, you're going to listen." He stepped closer, boots scraping on concrete. "You think I sold out our team. You think I leaked coordinates to the enemy." He tilted his head. "Tell me, what if the betrayal came from higher up?" Maya stiffened. That possibility had haunted every surviving operator from that mission, whispered in bunk rooms, wondered about in silence, the kind of suspicion too dangerous to voice. Spectre saw the flicker in her eyes and smiled beneath his mask. "You see it now, don't you? You were all pawns, disposable. The mission wasn't clean. It wasn't supposed to be." Maya swallowed hard. "Why kidnap my sister? Why drag her into this?" "Because you didn't listen when Ridge tried warning you. Because sometimes the only way to get the attention of a ghost," he lifted a small detonator-like device and tapped it once, "is to haunt what they love." Sarah whimpered. "No," Maya whispered, stepping in front of her. "You want me, fine, but let her go." Spectre paused. "Why?" he asked. "So you can walk into the same trap your team did. So you can die believing a lie." "What lie?" "That Ridge Carson wasn't the hero you think he is." The warehouse air shifted, cold, thick. "What are you talking about?" Maya said. Spectre tapped his fingers against the device thoughtfully. "You want answers. Then ask your commander why he was the only one cleared to receive the encrypted flight path. Ask him why he's the only one who walked away from Yemen untouched. Ask him why every piece of intel points back to his access codes. Maya's mouth went dry. No, she whispered. Ridge wouldn't, he didn't. Spectre stepped even closer, voice low enough to cut into bone. You really think the biggest betrayal of your life came from an enemy? A long pause. Sometimes the knife in your back wears the rank you trust most. Maya's breath shattered in her chest. Her world tilted, and the sound of a gun cocking behind her made the floor drop out completely. She turned slowly. Ridge stood in the doorway, weapon drawn, expression unreadable. And in that moment, Maya wasn't sure who she should be more afraid of. Spectre, or the man she once trusted with her life. Why did Ridge look like a stranger now, silhouetted in the doorway, weapon raised, eyes unreadable, as if every memory Maya had with him had suddenly become a question, not an anchor? The warehouse felt smaller, thicker, every sound sharper. Even Sarah sensed the shift. She clutched Maya's arm, breath trembling, eyes flicking between the two men like she couldn't decide which one terrified her more. Ridge, Maya whispered, put the gun down. He didn't. His grip was steady, too steady, like someone who had already made a decision before walking through the door. Spectre chuckled softly, the shadows around him flickering with the faint motion. There he is, the golden boy, the hero, the survivor. His tone dripped poison. Didn't think you'd actually show up, Commander. Ridge didn't look at him, didn't break eye contact with Maya. Move away from him, he said quietly. Both of you. Maya shifted, placing her body even more in front of her sister. Not until you tell me what's happening. Ridge finally tore his gaze from her and looked at Spectre with a stare sharp enough to cut concrete. You talk too much. And you hide too much, Spectre replied. Maybe she deserves to know. Maya's pulse quickened. The dread she'd been swallowing since the warehouse door closed now crawled up her spine like ice. Ridge, she said again, voice cracking, did you betray the Yemen team? She didn't want to ask. She didn't want to know. Ridge's jaw twitched, not quite denial, not quite anger, something messier, something that made the air vibrate. No, he said, but I didn't tell the truth either. That hit harder than a confession. Spectre spread his hands dramatically. See, there it is, the hesitation, the half-truth. That's the problem with soldiers like him. They don't lie, they just omit. Maya, Ridge said, stepping forward, weapon still raised. You need to listen to me, not him. Funny, Spectre murmured. That's exactly what you told your team before sending them into a death zone. Shut up, Ridge snapped. Maya felt her breath strain. Ridge, tell me what you omitted. He swallowed, the tendons in his neck tightening. The Yemen mission, the intel wasn't wrong. It was incomplete. I got the flight path, yes, but I also got a message, one I never showed anyone. Maya's heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. What message? Ridge hesitated again. Spectre tilted his head. Tell her, Commander. Tell her how her entire team would have lived if you hadn't played hero. Ridge's voice dropped to a pained whisper. It said you were compromised. Maya froze. Sarah gasped. Even Spectre went silent for a beat. What? Maya whispered. Ridge's voice cracked. It said someone posing as you was spotted transmitting coordinates to an enemy scout, that your gear had been cloned, that your transponder was active when you weren't in the safe zone. I never saw that message, Maya said softly. I know, Ridge's eyes were glassy now, strained. I deleted it. Maya's knees nearly buckled. Why? Because I knew it wasn't you. Ridge stepped closer. I knew you, I trusted you. Whoever cloned your signal, whoever fed that intel, they wanted you blamed, and I refused to let that happen. Spectre laughed, a cold, echoing sound that bounced off steel and concrete. You hear that, Maya? Hail, He deleted intel. He compromised protocol. He made himself judge and jury. Ridge ignored him. I made a call, a wrong one. You made a call that got my men killed, Spectre hissed, stepping forward now with venom. Your precious loyalty blinded you, and 14 soldiers burned because you thought you were protecting her. Maya's lungs emptied. Ridge, is that true? He stared at her, regret pouring through every line on his face. Yes. Sarah squeezed Maya's hand like she could anchor her back into reality. Maya felt the room tilt. Ridge's confession, Spectre's rage, her sister's trembling body, it all collided into something unbearable. And now, Spectre said softly, you know why she had to be here, why you both had to be here. Maya stepped protectively in front of Sarah again. You kidnapped my sister because of Ridge's mistake. Spectre shook his head. No, I kidnapped her because of yours. Maya went still. My mistake, she breathed. You were the bait, Spectre said. You always were. They needed you alive. They wanted you scared. And they knew the only way to pull you from hiding was to touch something you love. His voice lowered. Something soft. Maya's stomach twisted. This isn't about Yemen. Oh, it is, Spectre said. But not the way you think. The leaked intel came from someone above Ridge. Someone who wanted the mission destroyed. Someone who wanted the survivors fractured. Who, Maya demanded, give me a name. Spectre smirked beneath his mask. Now why would I ruin the grand reveal? You'll get the name when the time is right. Ridge stepped closer, gun lowering slightly. Maya, he's manipulating you. Don't listen. He's been obsessed with that mission for years. He went rogue. He blamed everyone except himself. Oh, please, Spectre snapped. Says the man who deleted evidence and got promoted instead of court-martialed. That's not what happened, Ridge growled. Isn't it? Spectre stepped between two cracks of light filtering through a broken window, half of his face illuminated. Tell her why you really left the teams, Ridge. Tell her what they found on your encrypted device. Ridge's face drained of color. Maya felt the ground slip beneath her feet. Ridge, what is he talking about? Ridge didn't answer. Maya, Sarah whispered desperately, say something. But Maya couldn't. Her throat closed, her vision blurred at the edges. All at once the warehouse lights flickered. Not from electricity. From movement. Shadows. Multiple. Surrounding the crates. Spectre's soldiers stepping into view armed, masked, forming a half circle. Spectre spread his arms wide. Welcome to the part Ridge didn't tell you about. Ridge whipped around, gun raised, but he was already surrounded too. Maya positioned herself in front of Sarah, heart thundering, breath sharp. Spectre looked at her like a man, admiring a chess piece finally cornered. You were never here to save your sister, he said softly. You were here because the next phase requires both of you. Maya tensed, both. Spectre nodded, the pilot and the commander. Ridge's eyes widened. Maya, run. Spectre lifted the small device in his hand and clicked it once. Every soldier raised their weapon. And Maya realized. This wasn't a kidnapping. This was an extraction. For her. For Ridge. For answers buried deeper than Yemen ever was. Why did time seem to stretch in that single breath? Soldiers tightening their grips, Spectre raising his device, Ridge shifting his stance, Maya shielding her sister, like the universe itself wanted to delay the moment everything unraveled. The weapons didn't fire. Not yet. Spectre didn't give the order. He just watched her, calm, patient, almost reverent. Maya, he said softly, step forward. She didn't move. You're going to have to kill me before I leave my sister. Spectre sighed, almost disappointed. You still think this is about her safety, about leverage? He pointed at his men without looking. If I wanted her dead, she wouldn't have made it here alive. Ridge growled under his breath. You touch her and... I already have, Spectre cut in, and she's unharmed because she isn't the point. Maya's hand tightened around Sarah's, then let her go. Yes, Spectre said unexpectedly, I intend to. Ridge stiffened. What game are you playing? Spectre stepped closer, slowly, deliberately. His men didn't flinch. They didn't need to. They held perfect formation. This is not a hostage situation, Spectre said. This is a recruitment. The room froze. Even Sarah stopped breathing. What? Maya whispered. Spectre tilted his head. Did you think Yemen was the end of the story? That the betrayal stopped there? No, Yemen was the beginning, and someone up the chain, someone neither of you have named yet, has been building something far bigger than that desert would allow. Maya swallowed. You're lying. Am I? Spectre nodded toward Ridge. Ask him. Ridge's face tightened. Spectre continued. You both were meant to die that day. Every operator on that mission was. Someone wanted the slate wiped clean, but you too, his voice sharpened, you survived. The pilot who outflew a missile swarm. The commander who walked through a firestorm and kept breathing. He stepped closer. You are loose ends, he said, and powerful ones. Maya shook her head. I won't work for a traitor. Spectre's eyes glinted. And yet everything I'm fighting against is the same machine that betrayed you. Ridge spoke through clenched teeth. He's twisting it, Maya. He's making himself the victim. Spectre laughed again, soft, tired, bitter. Do you know what they found on Ridge's encrypted device, Maya? Ridge's jaw locked. Don't. Spectre looked directly at her. A map. Maya's pulse skipped. A map to every covert site used to funnel off-the-books weapons, every shell company laundering money through conflict zones, every black site they swore didn't exist. He paused. Someone wanted Ridge to take the fall for it. Someone wanted him discredited. Maya's mind raced. If you knew all this, why didn't you come forward? Why fake your own death? Why vanish? Because I wasn't hunting Ridge, Spectre said. I was hunting the person who used us both. Maya's voice trembled. Then give me a name. Spectre stepped closer, right into the light. And for the first time, she saw his eyes clearly. Exhausted, haunted, angry. But not insane. General Ryland, he said quietly. Your former commanding general, the man who pinned your medal, the man who called Ridge a model soldier. He sold your team out, Maya. He sold all of us out. Ridge inhaled sharply like someone had punched the air from his lungs. Maya felt her knees weaken. No, Ryland loved the teams. He loved power, Spectre corrected. And he feared loyalty he couldn't control. You and Ridge were loyal to each other, not to him. That made you unpredictable. Maya's breath trembled. So Yemen was an execution, Spectre finished. A purge, a way to bury evidence, a way to eliminate witnesses. She staggered, feeling her world tilt again. Ridge reached toward her instinctively, but she took half a step back, unable to process the weight of everything at once. This is why I brought you here, Spectre said softly. Not to harm you, not to break you, but to show you the truth. Because the next phase requires someone who sees the machine for what it really is. Maya steadied herself. Why me? Spectre's voice lowered. Because you still believe people can be saved, and that makes you more dangerous than any gun. He gestured toward his soldiers. Your sister will leave unharmed. Ridge will be taken into custody, not to torture, but to remove him from Ryland's reach. And you. He extended a hand. You will decide if you fight for the truth, or keep being used by powerful men who see you as expendable. Maya stared at his hand. Sarah clung to her, voice broken. Maya, don't leave with him, please, please don't. Maya's eyes burned. She looked at Sarah, the girl she raised when their parents died, the girl who deserved a quiet life, not this. Then she looked at Ridge, the mentor, the friend, the man who made a terrible choice out of loyalty to her. A flawed man, A guilty man, but not the monster Spectre claimed. Then she looked at Spectre, the enemy, the victim, the avenger, the mirror of what she could become if she let anger rule her. She took a breath, then another. Then she straightened. "I'm not joining you," she said softly. "Not Ryland, not you, not anyone who uses innocent people." Spectre's eyes narrowed, hurt, not angry. "Then what will you do?" Maya stepped forward, placing Sarah behind her, lifting her chin with a steadiness she hadn't felt in years. "I'll find the truth myself," she said, "and I'll expose whoever killed our team, but I'll do it on my terms, not under your command." Spectre studied her for a long time, a very long time. Then he nodded once, slow, almost respectful. "I thought you might say that." He gestured. His soldiers lowered their weapons. Spectre stepped back into the shadows. "We'll cross paths again, Maya Hale, when you're ready for real war." Ridge tensed. "I'm not letting you take me." Spectre paused. "Oh, Commander, I'm not here to take you." Confusion flickered. Then a distant explosion thundered outside. The building shook. Spectre smiled beneath his mask. "Ryland sent a kill team. They followed Ridge here. They want him erased before he talks, before either of you do." Maya's blood ran cold. Ridge turned pale. Spectre stepped back. "Now the choice is simple. Save the man who lied to you, or leave him to the men who tried to kill you both in Yemen." He faded into darkness. His soldiers vanished with him, leaving Maya, Sarah, and Ridge alone with the sound of approaching engines and boots outside. Ridge looked at her with raw, terrified honesty. "Maya, please." She didn't hesitate. "Move," she said, grabbing his arm. "We're getting out." She didn't save him because he was innocent. She didn't save him because he was right. She saved him because some truths deserved to be spoken before a bullet ended them. Because running away never solved anything. Because the truth needed both of them alive. They lunged toward a side exit as glass shattered and voices screamed commands from outside. Maya pulled Sarah close, heart hammering, mind already calculating escape routes, choke points, blind corners. Ridge followed, limping slightly, breathing hard. She didn't look back. Not at Spectre. Not at the warehouse. Not at the life she thought she knew. She just ran. Toward the unknown. Toward answers. Toward a war she could no longer avoid. And somewhere between the sirens in her head and the pounding of footsteps behind her, she realized something quiet, something steady, something painfully true. Strength wasn't always about winning. Sometimes it was about choosing not to break. And as they disappeared into the dying light of the evening, one truth settled over her like a final whisper. Sometimes dignity doesn't speak. It simply acts.